Good morning from Green's Windmill. Today we're going to be setting all 4 sails. You would have noticed recently we've done a few time lapses of this, but a few of you have asked to see this in real time. So that's what we're going to do for you today. All we need is that pole, this platform, and we need a miller. And me, the helper. Alright, let's get to it. So the first thing we need to do is take the brake off. So Andy's just going to pull on this bit of rope. And what this does is it releases the sails so we can turn them around. It's going to get in the pole. And what he's going to do here is just hook the sail in. So you might have noticed Green's Windmill has 2 different sets of sails. We have 2 common sails and 2 spring sails. And this was because Mr. Green, who built the windmill, didn't want to put all his eggs in one basket by having one type of sail, so he thought he'd go for 2 of each. So I'll explain what we do with the sails as we go. So this spring sail, as you'll see, it's got slats in it. These slats. What do you call them, Andy? Shades?
Slats, shades or shutters?
Shutters.
Really depends.
They all begin with S.
Where you come from in the country, really. They're called different things around the country.
So as Andy's going to demonstrate here, it's just a quick flick of this handle. And that's how you set a spring sail. It's nice and easy. But you'll see in a moment when we set the common sail, it's a complete opposite amount of effort. But first what Andy's going to do is what he's done is he put the brake on again, and he's going to take that off now. So I'm going to push this sail around so we can get to the next one. So if I don't quite come around enough, sometimes I have to get this pole. Not quite going to be able to reach. So we're just going to pull this round. So Andy's put the brake back on so they don't go anywhere.
A little bit more.
Yeah, we're just going to pull this round a little bit more. So, as we were saying, the process of setting this sail is completely different. This green cloth here, this needs to be unravelled, so untied, unravelled, and then unfurled and stretched out, and then it needs retying.
Very much like a boat sail.
Helps to catch the wind much easier. So the spring sails are quite clever because the slats, shades, whatever you want to call them, they self-regulate. So on a really gusty day, or one of these days when we have a storm named after someone, which is the ones we like we had Storm Gareth in March, we can just set the springs and that'll be plenty enough to turn them. But on a day like today, it's a bit gusty, but the base wind speed is not that strong. So we're going to have to set these common sails today. Like Andy said, it's like a boat sail, it just catches the wind. But it does mean that we need to keep a close eye on it, because the gusts can blow the sails out of control. And they're not the easiest thing to set in gusty conditions either, are they, Andy?
No, they're not. No. So when you stretch out the canvas across the sail, when the wind's pushing on it, it makes it difficult to roll out, because you're fighting against the wind basically. And if there is a gust towards the side of the sail, it can whip the canvas up out your hands, up around the top of the mill, and then you just have to wait for it to come back down. And that can take minutes or hours. So it's just very dependent. Yeah.
And we've all had rope burn, haven't we?
We have
trying
indeed.
to hold on to one
Yeah,
unsuccessfully.
Yeah. It's worth mentioning as well that the canvas, the common sails, catch more wind than the springs do, because the slats or the shades or the shutters have gaps in between them for the wind to pass through. Obviously the cloth is just one massive piece of cloth, so yeah. So if we want the most power, we'll set the common sails. So let's get the bench.
You might be able to hear that it is quite gusty today, so we'll see how we go here. So do you like having two different varieties of sail, or do you wish they're all the same? And if so, which type?
I like having having the two different types gives us the most control in any sort of given type of wind. So it could be low wind speeds but gusty like it is today, or it could be really strong consistent wind speeds, or it could be really strong and sort of extremely strong gusts as well. So in the event that there is strong wind and strong gusts, I would just use the spring sails. If there's sort of a consistent wind speed of about 25 miles an hour, I would perhaps just use the common sails. And on a day like today, where the base wind speed's not that great, use all four.
You like the variety?
Yeah, most control. Yeah.
So you can get a real idea from being this close up just how actually these sails are really big. I don't think you really get a clear idea of it until you're stood next to one.
They look even bigger when you have to climb them.
Yeah, you've got to have a good head for heights in this job. So another issue we can have with these is whether it's rained or not. So, thank you. If it has rained, like it did the other day, we came to set them and they'd shrunk. Quite a lot in fact. And this poses two problems. One, it makes them heavier, so it makes it more difficult to do what we're doing now basically. but because they've shrunk as well, it's more difficult to tie them on because you don't have enough as much material to work with. And actually then there's a third problem, because then as they dry out during the day while they're turning, then the ropes become loose and the cloth becomes loose and everything becomes loose, and then the wind can get behind them and whip them out. So then we have to stop the mill and retie them all. So what Andy's going to do now, he's going to grab the rope that goes right to the top there. He's going to pull with all his strength. He's going to pull the top of this common sail across. So it's using the entire area of this sail. Nicely done. So I've got this job of trying to hook this rope onto that hook. This is quite a difficult one to do because the knot, as you see just there, is just below the hook. It's not the easiest one to do. Having said that, he's done it first time. I think that's a first ever. Not bad for an amateur. So
just bring it straight down.
This rope is under here. Is that right?
Yep. And then around the back there. And then slightly knocked.
Okay.
So the balcony that we're stood on to set these sails is called the reefing stage, purely because we can use a reef when we set the sails.
Isn't it a beautiful reef stage?
Oh, it is with the new floorboards.
So a lot of visitors do ask about coming out on here, as much as we would love to allow that. Obviously you can see how big the sail is. You just made the wrong move, and you can see Exhibit A, a bit of side wind there. It's just
side wind trying to throw the sail up. Yeah. So the trick is to try and grab it without getting rope burn, and also without getting whipped in the face. There we go.
So yeah, just to finish off what we're saying about letting people out on here, it'd be an amazing experience, but it'd only take just the sort of the wrong move really. You just sort of accidentally walk in front of it and you're heading for a serious injury. So unfortunately this is off bounds to visitors. So another thing to mention is that this job can be done by one person, but it's one of those jobs where it's much easier having two people do it. And normally it wouldn't be me, it would be our trainee miller helping Andy do this today. But he's actually prepping for our pizza baking activity today. We run a lot of baking activities throughout the year, especially during the school holidays. So he is busy with that today. So I'm playing trainee miller.
When we've set this sail, we've got another two to do as well.
Yeah, so we have to go through the same process. Again, we repeat what we've just done basically to get all four set.
Typically it usually takes about sort of half an hour to 45 minutes to get them all set. It's obviously a lot quicker when you've got help. So this will probably take in total about 20-25 minutes, unless something goes drastically wrong.
And you can never rule anything out, not when you're dealing with the wind. And it's an old building as well.
Building is 212 years old this year. So.
And you can see the difference in time that this takes compared to a spring sail.
So you can probably see while I'm doing this that the cloth is actually longer than the sail itself. So in order to tie it down properly, not only have we got to stretch it downwards to put the tension on the cloth so that it doesn't flap around too much, we've also got to pull it out to the side as well to give it the sideways tension as well as downward tension. Common sail done.
So as we were saying now, we just repeat this process, and that means the sails then are ready to turn. And we will run the mill if it's windy enough when we're open, which is Wednesday to Sunday, 10 until 4. An entry is free. So if you do visit on a windy day, or if you're thinking of visiting, try and visit on a windy day, and the chances are we'll be operating the mill. Give that a good push. It's free entry as well to Green's Mill. That was terrible. So what we're going to have to do here is push this sail. And then hook this one in. Now, do come and visit if you're in the area. It'd be nice to see you. I'll be helping the mill stay open as well. We're run by a charity, so even though entry is free, we do accept donations, and you'll help keep the mill open and operating. So this time we'll try and show you these things that begin with S closing. Lovely morning. So Andy's just going to take the brake off again, so we can turn these round to the last sail just there, which we need to set. If the gusts pick up at the right time, like you just have, I might be able to spin this one round without having to hook it in with the pole. There it comes. Excellent. Pull it in a bit more. So pull and tie these ropes again. How long have you been the miller here, Andy?
I've been the miller for just over 2 years. I was the trainee for a year before that, and a volunteer for 3 years before that as well. So I've been here for quite a while now.
Still enjoying it?
Yep, no 2 days are the same, so it keeps me on my toes, keeps me guessing, keeps me busy.
Can't really complain. plane coming here every day. You get to be outside, you get great views.
It's like a hidden gem in the middle of the city.
Yeah, we get to meet some lovely people. We get to educate as well. We've got science, got heritage, we've got green space.
Baking.
Yeah, bacon. I like to think that we're inspiring a whole new generation of great British bakers. We might see one on the Great British Bake Off one day, who knows?
Hopefully.
Don't forget where you learnt to bake.
This sail is a little bit more challenging to set.
We saved the best till last.
The canvas on this sail is showing some very serious battle scars from being caught by the strong side winds. You'll see in a moment that there's a rope missing and there's a few holes in it as well.
I think one of them's big enough to get your fist through.
That one there, yeah. So the way to fix those holes is to actually patch them up. So you can see that there. There you go.
So why haven't you done that, Andy?
Well, the main reason is that I don't know how to sew. So if anyone knows, you can either come and help me do this, or come and teach me, and volunteer to teach me. That would be grand.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. If you can sew and you've got the time, you know where we are. Any help appreciated. The Windmill is actually largely run by volunteers. We've got a team of about 30 at the moment, and they really are the cornerstone of our look at that hole.
There's one there I can put my finger through as well. There we go. There's a few more up there somewhere.
So yeah, if you're good with heights and a stitching needle.
If you just come and look this side. See here.
Oh, we've got this stuck on here.
You can see here that the one of the ropes tore out of the eyelet, and so we've had to kind of use our imaginations to tie that rope onto there, so it's a bit of a loop so that this corner's not just flapping around in the wind.
So we saw Andy before. Well, we saw him whip that across. This time we'll watch Andy. Give that rope a good yank. So all the strength needed for this. Oh, that was nice. Right to the end. So I was just trying to get this rope on again. Let's see if it was this amateur was a fluke before, whether we can do this again. Oh, quite. It's all about getting the height on it, so it'll fall back in there. That's that hook. So, I started talking about volunteers a minute ago. They really are the cornerstone of our organisation, and they actually won the Queen's Award for Voluntary Service in 2017, which is the MBE for volunteer groups. and it was thoroughly deserved. We really would struggle to even open without their help, never mind do all the things we do. So if you do have some spare time, would like to have a new experience, do give us a shout, because we're always looking for volunteers. We're a pretty laid back bunch here as well. Me, Andy and our trainee Miller Lee all started off as volunteers here too, so I think we've all got an idea about what we'd like to get from the experience, so I think we've got a good insight there. So yeah, if you're looking to fill a bit of spare time, do give us a shout. We'd be glad to hear from you. So Andy's doing the best he can here with this dodgy corner.
That ends up different every time. Put the rope through the hole, try and avoid making the hole any bigger.
So what's on the agenda today, milling wise, Andy?
We're going to finish milling the wheat grain that we started yesterday, because it was quite windy yesterday as well, and then we're going to move on to some spelt grain, and then get it all run through the dresser tomorrow or next week, so that we've got some white flour to go on the shelves.
We've only had about, I think it's 24 days all year that it's been windy enough to run the mill, and what, we're in August now, so we've not even had a month's worth of wind in 8 months, so we need to make the most of these moments while we can. Oh, no, that's my fault. There we go. Look at that. You can tell he's the amateur. So that's how we set 4 sails. Let's track the time a little bit. I think that's been about 25 minutes, half an hour. So Andy's just going to take the brake off now. Sometimes we have to give the sails a push to get them going. There might be enough wind in the air that they'll go around on their own today.
They should.
Oh, and there we go. And we're off. So, if you found that interesting, that's the process we have to go through to get the mill ready. So it's not just simply being up here for 5 minutes and doing some stuff and getting them done. It does take a fair bit of effort. But that's it, and now we're off. And fingers crossed we're going to have a good day of milling.
Time to put the stone in gear.
Alright, thanks Andy.
No problem.
And that's it from us. Cheerio.